It's an audio expression of our history, a self-defining declaration for our freedom. In the face of all forms of bondage, this is the soul's cry for help. This is the celebration of release. This is the healing property of our spirit. This word, this sound, this mighty, mighty good feeling that we call music. From jazz to hip-hop, from beatbox to bebop, 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 the jazz, the jazz, the jazz. It's our music, our history wrapped up in a rhythm and a word. Horn runs down the backs of those with the knack to feel that. It got to be just too much fun to simply call it the blues. So we had to make it. Jazz to hip-hop, from beatbox to bebop. Jazz to hip-hop, from beatbox to bebop. Jazz from hip-hop to beatbox to bebop. Jazz, the jazz, the jazz, the jazz, the jazz. It's moving, grooving through us at every minute of every day, vibrating on rhythms that our ancestors have laid. And they may have not had a name for it other than communication, but they knew it. They knew it, and as soon as a blacksmith had shaped it, they blew it into the air. Blares from a trumpet or saxophone, moans from a horn that needed to speak on our behalf and through our breath. Musical griots, blessed with the power to tell us where we have been, where we are going, where we are headed, and where we can be. It's not just music. In a world of restriction, in a bland, bland world of restriction, this is the color of revolution. This is the spice of resistance. These are the cries of those who just needed to speak. And this creates a sound. For those who may have never had the chance to physically speak, may scream their praises, shouts, and affirmations to those who needed to hear the most, and for those who needed to be heard. It's not just music. It is a soul's search for another manifestation of form when the flesh has failed to find a freedom in a world of restriction. It is the wretchedness, release of the wretchedness wrought within from races and writhings without. It is the whim of our wisdom to create a sound that will resound in our hearts and heal our spirits. It's just what the doctor ordered. It's just what our ancestors needed. It's justice given to us by the universe, that we would always know and be able to tell our story, my story, this story of us. This jazz to hip-hop, from beatbox to bebop. Jazz to hip-hop to beatbox to bebop. Jazz to hip-hop, from beatbox to bebop. Jazz. Jazz. This jazz. They captured it. They captured it. Those horn blowing, piano playing, drum pounding, hi-hat smacking, lyrically spitting, spiritually wailing, imperfect angels. They captured it, internalized it, and when they could no longer hold it, when it would no longer be contained, they released it to us and spoke our words, our emotions, our songs, our rhythms in our voices. And you dare to think this is just music? It's booty shaking, head bobbing, finger snapping, toe tapping, waist twisting, resistant to death. This is the transmogrification of Gabriel's trumpet, declaring war on Satan's efforts to silence our cause, and a call to our heaven-blessed spirits to advance forward. It's breath, and without it we die. It's life, and through it we live. This jazz to hip hop from beatbox to bebop, jazz to hip hop from beatbox to bebop, jazz from hip hop from beatbox to bebop, jazz from hip hop from beatbox to bebop. The jazz, the jazz, the jazz. The players tell a tale too tremendous for just one man. So in as many ways as there are authors and ears, they tell it through horn and hype, though it's all the same story, our story. And they become the griots, artists, musicians, God-graced vessels of heavenly thought, become those givers of head bobbing, finger snapping, toe tapping, hard pounding, Lindy hopping, break dancing, history making, freedom finding groove. And you got to be thankful for that. This jazz to hip hop from beatbox to bebop, jazz from hip hop from beatbox to bebop, jazz from hip hop from beatbox to bebop. The jazz, the jazz, the jazz, jazz from hip hop from beatbox to bebop, jazz to hip hop from beatbox to bebop, jazz from hip hop from beatbox to bebop, jazz to hip hop from beatbox to bebop, jazz to hip hop from beatbox to bebop. The jazz, the jazz. The jazz.
Kahari B, Steve Berry on trombone, Avreeayl on drums, Darius Savage on bass, Ameen Muhammad on trumpet. My name is Ernest, Dawkins. Thank you very much for coming out. Hopefully we'll see you again tomorrow. We're going to perfect the perfection. So thank you and have a good night. Thank you very much.